Welcome back to Champ Talk with Branden Hudson, guys. Like we ask on every episode, please like, share, subscribe to all the platform, all the streaming, listening sources. And if you're kind enough, you're nice enough, we really appreciate it. Leave me a review, okay? I don't care if you want to tell me that I'm ugly, that I'm handsome, that I need to do this. Really what I'd love some honest feedback to know where we can improve and what we would like to talk about for you guys so that we can bring in the right guests and hit the right message and so forth. We do all of our content for free. We don't have any sponsors. The sponsors that we were naming in the past were just sponsors that, you know, had affiliated with the gym. We just wanted to give some shout outs, but we don't take any money. We do this all just to give back free value to all of you guys so they can help improve the quality of your life. But without further ado, I am pleased to announce that I have the Champ Talk with Branden Hudson, OG Bobby Johnson himself. We have the Eric Evans. What's up, Coach?
How you doing, man? It's
Good,
been a long time.
It has been 5 years since we've had. A lot of y'all don't know, and I don't even know where the only place that I know that these episodes exist are Spotify and Apple and the Champ Talk Facebook page. I don't even think we have the old Champ Talk episodes on YouTube, which is like what I'm really, trying to grow and trying to get active. But they're out there somewhere, and they were fucking horrible. All right, they were awful when I tell you this because we didn't know what we were doing. We were kind of just winging it, and we had great content, talked about a lot of things, but we would start with a point and a mission, and we would be so far off the mission and point, like we would just be sitting there rambling. But now it's Champ Talk 2.0. I know when COVID had hit, it kind of jammed everything up from you being a guest on the show, and you had your little girl, and I mean, just life be lifing, man. So how things been in the last 5 years?
Wow, I've done a lot in 5 years. I mean, COVID did mess us up.
Yeah,
I had to get off here because they cut school out for a year, and so I had to stay home. But everything's great. Look how this has grown, man. You've done a great job. You've done a great job with the gym.
Well, thank you. For those that don't know, to all of our millions of listeners, Eric has been my coach, my head coach since day one. You know what I mean? Like, I think I was in combat sports for about a couple of months, and then I was 2 weeks out from a fight. This was 15 years ago, and our mutual friend Trevor Howard, shout out to Trevor, who started me in this. He's been a friend of mine since 7th or 8th grade. He brought in Eric as the ground guy, and Eric had about 6 classes of jiu-jitsu, and he was the ground guy. But he had a different kind of background as well.
I had a couple stripes on my white belt.
You did. But Eric showed me a couple moves. We connected, hit it off, and then the rest is history. And he's been with me and been a part of this. I mean, you're just as much SBY MMA as I am, so there's really no difference in that. And the growth of the gym in itself. I joke all the time with you. I talk all the time. It's like no matter what class Eric touches, it just flourishes. You have so many people that follow you, so respected in the martial arts community around here. Utmost respect by everybody. You know what I mean? I can only think of maybe one female martial arts instructor that doesn't respect you, but we don't even mention her, you know what I mean, anymore. You know what I mean? Something about
You're right.
Redskins and Cowboys or some shit, I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, man, I mean, you're top of the class, top of the line, you are the reason that, I'm here because you believed in me that first day and still steadily came up. We joke all the time. You walk down so many losing bouts with me to hang as I'm hanging my head.
But you're still here.
But I'm still here. But yeah, man. And the cool thing is as martial artists and combat sports instructors and all that go, you know what I mean? I'd like to say that I've carried the torch and done exactly what you should do, or most of the stuff that you should do as a student. And now it's kind of full circle, and I'm showing you things, and we're teaching each other. Like before, it was just all you teaching me, and you just got your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu brown belt, man. So how about it, man? Congratulations on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was good. And touching on what you said, I got a lot of text afterwards. Ryan Long hit me up, congratulated me. Alex, hit me up and congratulated me. Ryan Bosman hit me from where he was and did. And so a lot of people that I look, and respect and stuff too, respect me, and I appreciate that, hearing that from them. So
isn't it funny? Like no matter, and I speak with this to the real ones. The real ones know this, because the ones that don't think about this, they don't last very long, and they're not at the caliber. Isn't it funny? Like no matter how long you're in martial arts, and no matter what you master, as far as technique and stuff. Like there's never like a way where you like think you finally did it. You know what I mean? Like you were so like, if imposter syndrome was ever a real thing, martial arts would be where it's at. You know what I mean? Because again, everybody that I know, recognizes you, acknowledges you. I mean, we've heard stories where you'd show up to a dojo or show up to a jiu-jitsu gym and there'd be a karate master, somebody get up and raid you. And, this guy was somebody you respected, it's not the school. What, in 5 years, man, you've had a lot going on, and people know you've had a lot of going on. Let's talk about something that'll really connect with people. How many surgeries have you had?
Okay. I can't tell you how many, but I can name a lot of things I've had surgery on.
Yeah.
My knees, both of them, several times. I need 2 total knee replacements right now. My shoulders, both of them. My neck, I did a couple years ago. They had to fuse my neck.
That was the Peyton Manning surgery, right?
Peyton Manning surgery, which surprisingly, with 6 months off, where I couldn't do anything that I could even come back from at my age. Sports hernia, inguinal hernia, umbilical hernia, hip surgery. Now my other hip is ripped too, but I ain't doing nothing about it. I've had fingers broke, dislocated, you name it, man. You name it. I've had a lot of stuff done, but I'm still here. Yeah. I'm still here.
Do you think that a lot of those surgeries could have been prevented?
Yes.
Had you done
yes.
Like we're talking about like old school traditional martial arts where no water break, you beat bare fists and things like that with the science of everything. What do you think?
I 100% believe that if you stretch and do all that stuff beforehand, it will save you injuries. Yeah. 100%. I think I had to do a lot, outside of the dojo because I wanted to be the best. Yeah. I wanted to be the best. So I did a lot outside of there, and I would run with ankle weights on.
Oh, gosh.
And I would spar with ankle weights on. And the reason why my legs were so fast is because I would spar with these things on. So when I took them off, they'd be all over the place. But the damage that did from kicking and having an extra 5 pounds at the bottom of your foot when you're kicking.
Yeah, back then that was the thing to do.
It was the thing.
Hey, wear ankle weights, you'll be faster.
Absolutely.
Wear wrist weights, you'll be faster. Yep. Like it was all of these, and it made sense when it come to the speed, just didn't make sense when it came to the anatomy.
Joints.
Yeah, the joints anatomy.
Horrible.
I forgot to mention that, let me do a better job with introduction. You got your jiu-jitsu brown belt, but you've been doing martial arts for what, 35 years?
Yes.
35 years. You're a 8th degree black belt in our style, Kata Jitsu, right? Which we have. It's a form of Shotokan and Goju, and it's got a little judo in it. You know what I mean? It's got about 15 throws. It was funny. We had some,
And by the way, that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 5 p.m.
Yeah,
here.
Yep. Yeah, you teach the no-gi jiu-jitsu class, you teach the karate class for the kids and things like that, and the advanced kids, and we know what we're doing now, in regards to, not warming up cold or not going in sparring cold and not wearing ankle weights and things like that. But like when it comes to the instruction versus being the student, how do you gauge that? How do you put a pause on that? Because I've got to yell at you sometimes to not roll with certain people, to not roll with white belts. And I know it's in you, it's in all of us. We're all competitors. We're all athletes, How do you put the governor on yourself?
That's hard.
Yeah.
So, I've always said, even coaches need coaches. I've told you that before. Yeah. So I still need to go somewhere and get taught in order to do it. When you're there, as you know, if I got a small class and I decide to get in and roll with them, I can do that. When you got a big class, if you really need to keep an eye on people, what's the point of it? Yeah. If you're not going to, be there and help them. So, that pulls away, but that's one of the reasons why, my thing was stand up, and I did jujitsu and stuff to make sure people couldn't take me down and keep me down. But, I don't go over to the fighters practice and stuff now because I know that if somebody says, hey, I want to spar you, then I'm going to spar. Yeah. I'm going to. I can't. And I need people like you who you do it. A couple other people will say, you see me spar, down there, even grappling with a wrestler or something, you'd be like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, come on, man. So I need you guys because if I don't go up and ask these people to roll, but if they come to me, I kind of feel like I shouldn't say no to them because they want to roll. Because I know how it felt. Some people used to do that. And I'm not going to say who and all, but some people used to, you know, and that was the thing. If you were a black belt, you didn't roll with a white belt. So if you came up and asked them, they would say no. And it would hurt people's feelings. They would look at you like you're unapproachable. And that's not how I want to be. I don't want people to think that they can't come talk to me. So I don't want to say no, you know, unless I'm injured. If I'm injured, I can say it, you know, but I can't right now because, you know, whatever. But, so I think that's the biggest part of it, for me, you know, but I enjoy coming. I told you, I like when you're teaching, I get to go over there and watch you and listen to you tell me what to do. I enjoy that.
That's like the full circle thing, you know.
But isn't it weird how, you know, when we did start this all, and then we were over at the other place, we'd get it in every day.
Yeah.
And now it's few and far between when we can get it in. It's like we have to try to figure out a time we can both be around the same time and be like, hey, come here, you roll with me real quick. I want to roll with you. Or I'm trying to do this. And we still, and every time we do, we have great things where we talk about this and we talk about that, and we can throw this in and we can still, and it's funny because we can still teach each other.
Yeah.
Every time we get a roll in, there's something that you've picked up or something that I picked up, and we can like throw it at each other. So I think it's great.
I would say that is the biggest downfall of this gym.
I agree.
Is that all of our friends who we trained with don't get to train together. Like I don't get to train with you. I don't get to train with P. I don't get to train with Greg.
Right.
All of the guys that I love. And I mean, it's a good thing. It's a bad thing and a good thing. I mean, it's good because we get to give so much. Right. But man, it sucks not being selfish. And I want to be selfish with the training. And you know what I mean? It's exactly right. And you know, you and I are just completely disrespectful to any teacher that's teaching a class. Like when we had the Hedges seminar, we can't be partners.
That's horrible.
And we don't mean it, but
we do it every time.
We'll be partners together and just cutting up the entire time, talking, making jokes. You know what I mean? Oh, this is why you can't do that. This and bust each other's balls. And it's just like, man, we had one guy come through, bless his heart. He did like a little instructional thing, and man, I know he probably thought we didn't respect him, but I had to tell him, I said, listen, man, we're just goofballs. We never get a chance. And, you know, thank you so much. And but it is disrespectful as shit when you think about it. Well, I think it's important that you recognize that because, and I've told you this many times, you know, when you are a seasoned, you know, combat sports practitioner, you know, martial artist, you know, there's so much knowledge that one has, right? And what makes people even more valuable and I almost said deadly because it's like, you know, we're not deadly. Let's not, you know, we can, but that's not the right words. It makes you even more, you know, valuable and more, you know, just so much worth there when you're still learning and you're not just sitting here saying, hey, I know it all. Right. But with all that wealth of knowledge, it's a travesty if you do get hurt. And you aren't able to pass that on, and you're not able to do the things that you need to be, and that's where we do mess up as practitioners, is we forget that. You know, we forget that that's what the whole point of it was for. It's, you know, they started as self-defense, but I don't think it's self-defense. You know, I think maybe somewhere along the line it was self-defense, but when you talk to a real warrior spirit, it's like, man, it's a way of life. It is, and it's not like the way of life for the fighting. It's like, dude, today I had a really, really rough morning. And I went here and got here as early as I possibly could to try to make Dave's class and his Muay Thai class. And unfortunately, his he had 3 people. He was the 4th. Man, I just got on the bags, man. I was just going and doing bag work and, you know, and just trying to like get into the train mode to shake whatever was bothering me. Right. But we can't tell you how many times that we've come in here and felt like shit, angry, whatever, come in the mats and we're like, oh, man, I feel so much better. What was I mad about? You know what I mean? And things like that. Shifting gears, man, there's, you know, a lot of people don't know this about you, but you had a chance to play college soccer, correct? Yes. Was that D1, D2? What was that? I don't remember the.
It was North Carolina. Okay. So, I was really good at soccer. Yeah. Really good.
Well, you're really good at, I mean, not to cut you off, you're really good at a lot of things. You're a pretty good actor. You're a pretty good musician, you know, singer and guitar player. You know, you're an outstanding martial artist. You know what I mean? You know, it's a lot of things that you are good at.
Athlete.
But as far as that, I mean, you were top of the line, you know, when it comes to soccer, right?
Yeah, but I threw it away for a girl. Mm-hmm. So, the girl I dated all through high school had a car accident and was thrown out the sunroof in shock trauma. And I stayed and went to UMES instead.
Mm-hmm.
And then it didn't work out anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you do all that, and I missed my opportunity. I played in a lot of, leagues all the way up till I destroyed my knees. But I played in a lot of ones that were they were called like college developmental leagues, where you played colleges in the off season would play. And I played really well. I mean, I scored 12 goals in one game in an outdoor game in that league. It was crazy. I was crazy good at playing soccer. And, but what's funny about that is I was never crazy about watching soccer. Yeah. And I hear people say that about football that played, and I love football and I watch it. And I got to play in New Orleans, wide receiver and DB. But when I come here, they didn't have it, and my school didn't have it. So I played soccer because I had to play something. Yeah. But I wouldn't even played soccer had we had football.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy, isn't it? And then our senior year, they told us we could run over to Snow Hill and play. But by then I had all the colleges looking at me, and I just couldn't. Yeah. But I wanted to.
You thought about it.
I wanted to bad.
So where I was going with that is, you had the level of soccer that you played and the passion for that, especially once you started getting scouted, you know what I mean? And then you were, you competed a lot, in the martial arts world and the karate, and in the 90s, karate was a big deal. It was it's still a big deal now, but it was, you didn't have the UFC, you didn't have MMA, you didn't have jiu-jitsu really that mainstream, especially around here. So if you wanted, you either boxed, you either wrestled, or you did karate. And the tournaments you still see tournaments, 200, 300, 400 kids, you know what I mean, doing katas, doing forms, doing sparring. And you were very good at that too, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then you do have a cage fight under your belt. You 1-0. So you went from all these, dominant ways, and we've talked about this, to all of a sudden it's gone. It's over, right? And how were you able to combat that, right? Because like most people can't let that go. I know it might be a struggle to let that go, but where people really fall short to that is they still want to live that life and kind of have one foot in, one foot out. They have one of the things that we love about each other is we don't have to brag about ourselves to people, right? We joke a lot, we kid a lot. We'll let you know we'll fuck you up if we need to, right? But we don't need to tell everybody about our war stories. We know that there are other people that need that, you know what I mean? And they're way past their prime, but they still want to tell you about their shit and how good they were and all that. And we can't stand those kind of guys, but you hear it. So, you know what I mean? How were you able to combat that feeling? Because it is a natural feeling. You hear a lot of athletes that were in the NFL that once the game's over, they unfortunately take their life and they do a lot of different things. What was it? What was it for you?
You know what it was for me. It was coaching. Mm-hmm. It was having you. I just finished when I got with you. Remember, I just had my fight, and you said you wanted to do it, so I got to live through you. You should know that because of how upset I would be when you lost. Brandon can tell you all this all he wants. I would be very, very upset with him when he lost because I lost. And, if I didn't think he put enough into it or whatever, or if it didn't bother, it bothered me way more than it bothered Brandon.
Oh, I know.
It really did. Brandon was like, to the next one and whatever. And if it did bother you, you didn't show it. You were good at that. It killed me to lose. And that's, I think is what made me good at everything is I hated to lose. Mm-hmm. And I think my daughter's got that same thing. And I'm looking forward to her playing sports as she gets older. But I got to coach. And you remember, it took 3-4 of your fights before I finally let it go. You remember me telling you, do I got to get back in here to get a fight? Do I got to get back in to get a win? I'd be upset. And then, it started happening where I didn't need it no more, and I got to live through you. And you remember how happy I was? I had my hip surgery when you won that first title, and I'm jumping up and down. I'm supposed to be on crutches. Yeah. And I'm jumping up and down. You could barely walk. I couldn't even walk. I couldn't walk without it. And I'm hopping up and down, and you got that on video. So very happy when you won that jiu-jitsu thing. I guess you were white. Were we white belts then? When you went in there and took on that brown belt.
Oh, yeah.
And won that. I was tickled, man. I was so tickled. My wife gets on me about, I don't think before I speak. And she's true. It's really true. And I'm yelling, right in this guy's face, man. I'm like not yelling at him, but to you, you just beat a brown belt. You won that. And right and you were like, Eric, man, you hurting his feelings. Like you had to tell me, but I don't know. I lived through all that, when I got to do it and compete and win one, dude, I was emotional.
Yeah.
I was emotional. And then I enjoyed the last one when I sent you a picture.
Yeah.
Because you told me, the doctor released me Friday. Saturday, I went up, told everybody I was coaching. And I went up there and got in a tournament and won. And I sent you a picture and you were like, I hate you and love you both at the same time. Like, you were happy for me. You were also mad with me for doing it when I just got off because you don't want me to get hurt. I've heard you a million times tell people, if you hurt him, I'm going to hurt you.
Yeah.
You need him,
I'll be pissed. Yeah.
So, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, when you say stuff like that. There's a lot of guys that'll say stuff if they've done something, a move they've learned, or tell me how much they've appreciated learning from me and that stuff. So that means a lot to me.
Well, let me clarify that the fucking losses I hated, absolute hated. But the one thing for me that I learned, and I think I learned it from my previous life and the things I was involved, you can't show them you sweating.
Right.
And that a lot of that stuck with me, right? At home, man, I beat the hell out of the dog. You know what I mean? I beat his. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Don't say that.
You know
It's
what I
not
mean?
true. It's a metaphor.
But but at home, you know what I mean? Like, I sulked at my L's. I hated to lose, but I knew I've always been. When we first got together coaching, you would tell me about vision and being able to see vision.
Yeah,
I could never see vision in a fight for the longest time, and you told me it would develop. Life, 2020. When it comes to life, I've always have a bigger vision. That's awesome. I didn't know what this was going to turn out to be at the time, but I knew that I wasn't fighting for no reason, right? I knew that where my life had come from with no martial arts experience, just getting into this, I knew that God had a plan for me. Like I wasn't doing this for Branden. You know what I mean? I needed to do it to try it. Because when I went to Trevor's gym, it was like 2 months I was kicking everybody's ass. I'm like, well, that don't make sense. These guys are martial artists.
Right.
And so I knew I had to try it, which is, again, another way that God nudges you, right?
Right.
But at the same time, I didn't expect any of this. I was dealing drugs.
Right.
I was having affairs on my ex-wife. I was doing all the worst of the worst things that you can do. But I hated to lose. I fucking hate to lose, dude. Like I don't care what it is. I hate to lose. Good. But I never could show it because I just figured that there was a bigger picture. And then after like my second or third fight, we started seeing that I was more of an inspiration to our town and people than I was anything else. So I just rode on that for the long time. But it would be funny. You would literally come to the gym on a Monday with another gym's shirt if I lost a fight. I mean, you were brutal. You always remind me of that one instructor, that one coach from Kickboxer with Jean-Claude Van Damme, where, he took him out to the bar, was finally happy with him. Then he go whispering everybody, get them all drunk, whispering everybody is, he had sex with your mama. Yeah. And now I'm fighting the whole bar. Yeah. But, you would do things like bring me get well cards and not answer my phone calls. And I'd be like, Coach, I'm so sorry. Yeah. But that was what really worked for us, and that's what our chemistry worked for us. But when it came down to the vision, I just knew there was something bigger, and I would talk about it. I'd be like, man, I'd be all focused on a camp and everything, so all the juices were flowing then, and I'd be like, no weed, no drinking, no partying. I was like so clear in my mind, like, oh, Coach, we're gonna do this, and we can get under one roof. And then unfortunately, it took me to get arrested and go through that to figure it all out. But that's when you learned how to kick. I did right in work release. You know what I mean? 411. I learned kicking. No joke, kicking freaking cement walls. I was learning how to. I told you would feel it one day, and all of a sudden you were like, "I got it." I know. I know for real. Yep. So, but yeah, so I find it very interesting that you're able to do that, because for me, I struggle with letting things go. Like I have to climb another mountain. That's probably the thing that I'm more at fault than anything else, is once I climb a mountain, I'm not appreciating the view. I'm looking at what other mountain is higher that I'm going to climb next, right? And that keeps me in the game. That keeps me going. When it comes to with you, you know what I mean, to be able to transmute that energy into somebody like myself, and now I see you do it with other guys like Ryan Bosman. You took a lot of time with him, John Meister, JP. You know what I mean? You've taken a lot of time. Other JP, Justin Pryor. You've taken a lot of time with Kyle. Yes, Kyle. You've always got this band of misfits that are, your guys, and they end up becoming really good. Really nasty.
Beating me.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
It's remarkable at what you're able to do, and I think that's really cool for our listeners to hear because. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. Right. And, if there's anything about martial arts that you should want to understand is the mental health aspect. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mental health is, I've said this before, I can't connect with, bipolar disorder, right. Anxiety, ADHD. I don't experience it. I've never experienced depression. None of that. I've been sad. I've had my moments. But I've never let it get. I've been anxious before a fucking fight. You know what I mean? It's like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing here, right? But that usually worked out good because it moved me. But I know it's real. We know that it is real. There's spots on the brain that we're now starting to see research that it says, hey, there's some things that just aren't clicking.
And I have them.
Yeah. Yep.
But how about I did. We'll talk about mental illness and stuff. I have anxiety, depression running my family. We talked about it before, where I've had. Uncles killed themselves, cousins, grandmom. And then as much as recently, a couple of years ago, my uncle, who you knew, killed himself. And I thought him as a father. And out of the blue,
never would have thought
60-something
that,
years old, never would have thought about it. And he came to the gym. You've seen him. He brought his kids, my cousins. And, I got to live with that. I deal with that. And this is what helps me. That's what I think is the bigger thing. And I think anybody with anything going, whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety, if it's depression, find something that's worth fighting for. You talk about everybody has a fight, to be better at this, to go to tournaments, let that be your thing. I knew I had that because I had to be best at everything. I had to learn how to sing and play in front of people. I had to go be the best at this thing or this person or fight or something. I needed the crowd. I needed the encouragement. I needed to know that I was doing something. Been depressed many a times. Mm-hmm. Anxiety, you fight hard, but this helps, man. Yeah. It really does help so much. Anxiety, you fight it off. Get on the mat. Man, you feel like you got this aggression. How many people have you heard, just want to kill somebody. I just want to come get on the mats.
Yep.
Roll around. One time with one person,
one fucking round.
And trust me, that aggression's gone.
Oh yeah,
it's because you think you're going to power out of it. You're not powering out of somebody got you in something, right? Especially when you don't know what you're doing. So you should do that. Yep. And I think you help a lot of people because I don't know if they talk to you, as coaches and us being on different, having different classes. I have a lot of them that'll tell me how they're in there because of that, because of how they feel and how anxious they are, and that helps. There's a lot of us that are in the gym now that comes through, and this helps, man. So you're helping a lot of people by doing that. And by the way, I've told you before, I was never one to tell you how much how proud I was of you. I told you I was here to tell you what you did wrong, not what you did right. Somebody else can pat you on the back. We had a good thing when we worked together because I would be on people's behinds and you would be encouraging people. So they kind of got it, which worked out good for the Karate Kids. When you were there and now you're not, so they don't get that side much. Brian's a good coach.
Yeah, he is.
But I was never like that. It's good that you do this though. I just want you to know that, man, because it really helps. And I wanted you to know that you're doing a great job with what you do. And if you weren't, I wouldn't be coming to you, be like, and learning stuff from you too. You know what I'm saying? So.
Well, you're one of the ones that before you would leave, you would have had multiple conversations with me and let me know, like, you need to fix this now. You know what I mean? And the fact that you're still here, I appreciate that, man. And, it excuse me, back to like the vision side of it, you don't know what mission you're fighting until you're either in it or you're out of it. You know what I mean? You look back and knowing that there was a purpose to some degree back then. Mm-hmm. And then now hearing you talk about this, I'm thinking this through, you got a guy that like myself that didn't grow up in traditional martial arts, grew up in sports, I was just so violent. Like I was just so violent. And, you saw the raw violence in me, way
And I
back
liked
then.
it.
Yeah. I mean, it's good for what we needed, right? But it wasn't great for society, right? And it was good for what I was involved in, but it wasn't great and it wasn't a good look. And I'm not proud of it. I'm not ashamed of it. It's just what it was. But I had this anger and this deep darkness in me that's still there. It's just so bottled
It's not
down.
going away.
It's so, it never goes away. But now it's, it's layered
Control
with
it.
control. Yeah. But man, you know what I mean? I had this raw violence, no martial arts experience, if I have mental health issues, I haven't figured them out yet. And maybe there are some stuff, but I've been conditioned so long to take it on the chin and just keep moving forward, for the bigger purpose. And it's so weird that like now, I've been able to be fortunate enough to have guys like yourself believe in what we're doing. You know what I mean? Cause Eric, that's a big thing is man, like, it's one thing that we do what we do, right? But the belief, you believe in this, what we're doing, because you see everything. We bleed SBY, you know what I mean? And it's so much bigger than you and I now. Like, it's really not about you and I anymore. We have popular classes.
You're right.
We're great. But there's a handful of people that you've never seen, talk to, or whatever in Coach P's class.
Right.
You know what I mean? Coach Greg's got a class that you like, who is that dude? I like how he kicks.
Right,
I like how she, right? So we have these people that just have their own following. Look what we've done, look what Louis done and his buy-in. And then all the great members. But it's so ironic that we talk about this because, for somebody like me, you know what I mean? I've developed in needing martial arts because now it's so much as my identity, and I love what we pour into it with you. If you don't do it, who knows what could happen? Who knows? You see what I'm saying? And then you were my coach, and it's so crazy how this is so layered in the way it works.
That's the truth, and that's why people don't understand. I don't think you know it because you've said it to me before, but I don't think people realize that martial arts and having this has saved me.
Yeah. And
because that thing is still there, and you'll see it every now and then
in traffic.
You'll see it in my eye, and this controls it. I mean, I don't know if I really should say this, but like I had, my brother thought I was going to be a serial killer. I mean, when we were young, I mean, I was doing the stuff you shouldn't be doing that makes people think that you're nuts.
Yeah.
I watched Signs of a Psychopath. You can watch it right on Netflix. And I'm like, damn, is that me? This has contained it.
Yeah.
This really does. But I also as I got older and got wiser, I got smart to not putting myself in a situation so that I don't want that to snap. Sure. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to go over there. And I know how frustrated I would get if I'm sparring with a 22-year-old who's strong, fat, and I can't keep up with him. And I'm like, I've done this longer than he's been alive. And how frustrating that would be if he gets the better of me. I don't want anybody getting the better of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just the way I've always been. I don't let my daughter beat me in freaking checkers or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
which I think constitutes to a great coach. Right?
I agree.
Because excuse me, you weren't just doing that recently since we've been here. You would never go to the bar with me after a celebration, right? Because you didn't trust what would happen and how you'd react.
Didn't trust me.
And I didn't understand that. I'm like, you're good, coach, you're with me, because I had so many people in there and everything, but you know what I mean? But it just wouldn't work. And
you begged me to.
Yeah. And do you think that martial arts contained it, or do you think the humility of it gave you more wits and more reasoning with yourself to say, hey, you know what? It's not about that anybody could beat me. It's about I might really hurt somebody.
That has always been a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember telling counselors, man, I've spoke to many counselors and saying that I'm afraid of what I would do to somebody because I know I could. So, I was afraid of being able to snap. If I can just get myself, if something happened, that's why you need to be around people too. For instance, if we're in here and something was to happen, and there's other people that could talk me off that ledge, right? Right? I mean, there's, and there's you or anybody, or you could see it. It's not, we've been lucky enough not to have it, but I don't put myself in situations to let that happen.
And you don't need to.
Right.
Like you don't, like you have the respect and you have the time in, and you have the time that you've dedicated where you got soldiers in front of you. That like we had that incident with a young girl who, what I mean? Yeah. Wild out. I mean, you were the last in line. The last. And I'm looking around and, it was a wild night. And I don't want to go into details, but when we talked, I'm like, there's only two of us that are really crazy.
Right.
And we were the most calm, cool, and collective. You know what I mean?
And I was like, trying to stop other people. Yeah. Other coaches trying to stop back. And I was like, wow, like instead of me being the one to, lose it. I was trying to calm other people, and I think that helps as a coach.
100%.
You remember the incident that we had at a jiu-jitsu tournament?
I do.
When I lost it?
I do.
And on a professional fighter.
Yeah.
And you were able to, step in there and
please, Eric, please don't do it.
We got students here, and because I was always preaching, hey, show humility, show this, show.
Yeah.
I was doing it. I want me to do it. You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to get it over to you. So I'm trying to, you always say, I say, do as I say and not as I do. No, I want to be able to do it too. So it makes it harder for me to act like a fool if I'm telling you not to.
Absolutely.
So, this has helped big time, man. And it does. I'm a lot calmer and stuff with stuff, but talk about the traffic incident.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me a thing back in the day when you said, I think I'm going to be a good martial artist, and fight could have broke out at Secrets. And you said, I was like, dude, you don't want to fight me. I do this or whatever. And I remember saying, no, I was at home. A good martial artist wouldn't have been there. I remember saying that. But when you remember me saying that to you? I said, no, you know what I was doing Saturday night? I was home watching TV. I stay out of that situation was what I was trying to tell you. But, this guy jumps out of his truck and he comes after me. He backs his car like he's coming. Then he jumps out and goes over to me. Well, you're not going to come run up on me in the car and get me while I'm in the car. I jump out. Now, whatever it was, I don't know if he's seen something in my eye. He stopped right in his track. And I said, you better get back in the car before you get hurt.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, made him do it. He did it. Instead of me waiting till he got here and hitting him. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Or getting hit and then really going off.
Yeah. So luckily, I've been able to get through stuff. I don't know what it is. I've heard people say I look like the devil, which also fears me of serial killers when they always say their eyes go black. and people said I look like the devil. When
That's weird because in Colombia, they kept calling me was El Diablo. I don't understand. Why did they call me that? The locals, El Diablo.
Yeah, but you probably weren't even mad. You were just
I was having a good time. Yeah.
Mine just happens when I get mad.
Well,
what you know about drinking? Let's talk about drinking and me not going to a bar.
Yeah, so that's funny, right? So, and you and I both are like this. No, first of all, on the record, I'm about 2.5 months not drinking.
Awesome.
I went to Colombia. I had a time of my life for my cousin's birthday and his 40th birthday, and it was a real guy's trip. So it's fun. It's different when you're in your 20s and 30s when you're having a guy's trip. You know what I mean? Like you're just hounding and doing all the crazy stuff. But when you're in your 40s, it's like freedom. It's like I don't have anything to worry about. And but I just said, you know what? I had a real fun. I had a fun summer because I worked through so many of my summers, and I do love to drink. I love to party. I love to hang out. And it just came to an end. I think Colombia was like the top of the mountain. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stop drinking. I got a lot of goals I want to do. I said, I'm going to stop drinking for 1 year.
And that's hard to do.
It is. And I got a lot of goals I want to accomplish this year. And my body is not where I want it. I constantly talking about how I want to be in shape, and I'm definitely more hard on myself. But you and I both are the same way. Like when we drink together, we have a ball, especially you. You are the most funnest person to drink around. Never are we angry.
Nope.
Never are we too drunk.
Nope.
Never are we blacked out like, those guys that are just zombies. And just
jokes.
And just having
laughing.
A blast.
The few times we have done that have been the best times.
They have. They really have.
And it's crazy.
And it is, because you would think that with, especially the things we're talking about, we would be, itching, or that would be our excuse. And that's another thing where I struggle with a lot of martial artists is like, buddy, you're not living up to the code, right?
Right.
You could talk one way, you could do it, but if there's a problem, we all had those times we've embarrassed ourselves when we drank a little too many, right? And we wish we could have took back some nights and said some things and all that, right? But if that keeps happening and this the next day, why not make a change? Why not make a shift? And you don't see people do that. It's kind of like also going back to mental health, right? If you know you're bipolar, or if you know you're schizophrenic, or if you know you have these issues, right? And you've been clinically diagnosed, and you've had times where you're very shameful and embarrassed and guilty ridden of when you were manic, don't stop taking your medicine.
Right.
Make that a priority. Right. Also, if you don't like the way the medicine feels, then go to the gym.
Right.
Do the work, do all of the extra stuff, not just saying, hey, I'm on the medicine, I'm fixed. No. That's not it. You got to do the whole thing. And this is a great tie-in, because I wanted to tie this in because I've seen this shift in you in the past 5 years. I've noticed that you have gotten really closer to God.
Yes.
In the past 5 years.
Yes.
And I would like to think that that's a huge reason on why this is a lot easier for you to tie it all together. Talk about that.
So,
and we don't have to beat on people on religion, but I mean, I just think faith is important.
You really want to know the story? I'll tell you. I grew up in church. My family went to church. My mom, and then I was sang in the children's choir and everything. Got saved, got baptized, and then I found out that my preacher was sleeping with some women in the congregation. Well, that devastated me.
Wow.
So it bothered me, it hurt me, and I got away from it. And I turned into a not good kid at all. And but then a few years ago, my sister-in-law was going to this one up here called Lift Church. It's a big,
you got a Lift?
Big church.
Okay.
Yeah. And they said this preacher's great and stuff. And so my wife started going. I teach classes on Sunday morning, so I can't go. Well, one Easter, because, you know, I don't take off even if the gym's closed. I keep it open, Father's Day, Mother's Day, everything. Easter, different.
Yeah.
So it was an Easter. I said, all right, I'll go with you. I went. And when you know you found the right places, when you feel like they're talking to you, right? I have to tell you what he just did, by the way. So I was like, wow, this is great. Is this the one though? So I went back the next time. What I did is class runs, and when it's over, I go to the 1045 one, right? Leave right from there every Sunday.
That's cool.
I go to church every Sunday, and it's awesome. But he's talking to me. I mean, he just did something about fighting.
Who's the pastor?
Drew Fradar is his name. He's wonderful, right?
Yeah.
He's from Louisiana.
Okay.
So he does stuff that makes it different for us. His parents were Catholic. He said he was bored. He hated going to church because it was boring. He doesn't make it boring. He makes sure, cuts up, makes jokes, and does stuff like that. So you're laughing, you're carrying on, it's making you stay tuned instead of tuning it out.
Yeah.
Right? So he starts talking about fight, and he starts talking about who's loving a fighter, and then he starts talking about the love, you know, that you have of people and whatever, and then you have fighters, and who's fighters in here, and then he pulls up some MMA gloves that he borrowed from me, by the way. He asked me if he could borrow them.
Oh, wow.
And he starts, you know, basically fighting the good fight for God. There's people who love, but there's people that's got to fight. And he made sense talking about the richer you get or the more powerful you get, the harder the fight is. Think about that. So you start making more money, there's more problems. They've always said that, right? Well, the devil's going to try even harder at you. And what really got me wanting to come back when I did all this is the world's gotten so bad, and there's so many non-Christians anymore that don't believe, and the world wants you to believe in science and stuff and not God. And there's a lot, and we know some atheists. We know some, right?
Sure.
And I was like, you know what? It's easier. It's always been easier to be bad than good.
Yep.
So I was like, I need to go so that I don't get carried down that path. And church, do you have to go? No, you don't have to go, but it makes you want to do right. It makes you want to be a better person. So I've been going, and it's been great. It's been great for the family. I mean, me and my wife are closer. The family, we do stuff all the time. You know that. And you've seen us. We've been out in different places, and you've been out there with your family, which is wonderful. So when I bump into you like that and the families are together, we've done that several times. Just the other day and eating out and bumped into y'all. I'm a better man. I feel like I'm better. I want to be better. And, I thank God for everything. But it's because of that, not wanting to go down that path. Yeah. So that's the big thing about that. So, but I don't push it on nobody. I'm not pushing it. I'm not, people get mad about that when you try to do that, and it turns you away from it. You live by example, right? I'm going to go. I can still go there and still go, but that's other people that want to go to church. Come Sunday mornings. You could still go. You can still take my class and still get to church on time.
We've been, dude, that's so awesome. I just learned something from you, again, just sitting here, and it kind of got me emotional thinking about it, hearing it, excuse me. You're so right. It's just so easier to be bad. And it always has been, right? And one would say to that notion, it's easier to just say it's all science. It's easier to say it's all,
it is.
You know what I mean? It's harder to have faith.
You have to have faith.
And let's be honest. None of us know what happens when we die,
No.
right? Not a single person on this earth or ever has, or ever will, or is at this moment while they're on the earth, know what happens. Right. It's only the ones that left and the only ones that departed. But having faith is something that is just a core principle, I think, in life. And we've been actually visiting churches since Sean McCarthy had moved. We've been visiting all different churches. Now, we've been falling off the past few weeks because we've just been worn out, which is an excuse. But we've been checking them all out. And lifts, now I got to honor on camera. I got to honor my word. I'm going to come to lift with you.
And the next 2 weeks, it's like a movie. They play a movie, which is really cool. And they serve popcorn and sodas. Like they give them to you. Wow. And then you watch
on 13 North, right?
It's right on North, up there where the old Gander Mountain was.
Yep, where the mall was. Yeah.
And so what they do is he plays this movie and then he ties it in. He's back in the day, they didn't preach. They didn't get out there and preach. They told stories. That's basically how they did it. So he's showing how this ties in. This story, he'll use it as a parable to get into God, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But, it depends on what you like and how which if that's something for you to sit there and, but it's something different though. I enjoy it. You get to sit back, eat popcorn, have a soda while you're in church. I enjoy that. Yeah. But I crave it. Yeah. I crave it now. I go Sundays and then the first Wednesday every month they do it. I went this past Wednesday.
Well, and I noticed that the connections that you're making is you're at a different frequency right now with who I see you're connecting with at the gym. And, we all connect with all of we all have everybody that we connect with, but then when you have those few people, individuals, where it's a different conversation.
Right.
And I don't know what you're talking about, but I can tell the frequency's different. Right. And that's what I think is pretty cool is I've watched this happen over the past 4 or 5 years where, you've just been, leaning in towards that more and more and more. And I'd like to think that I know it's had a profound impact on you because just the way that you are and carry yourself. And it's pretty cool, man. Dude, this 45 minutes just blew by. You know what I mean? Wow. I can't believe it did. There's so many other things I want to talk about.
I want to say hello to Sean, too, McCarthy. And he sent me a message congratulating me on my brown belt, too. But, that he's gone and followed God. And I used to ask him stuff. I used to ask him even before I went.
He's the best, man.
I would ask him questions. Hey, I've heard this. What is your take on it?
He's the best.
I wanted to hear it.
Yeah, Coach Sean is the absolute best,
great
man.
Guy, man. And I want to say hey to Sean.
Yep. Shout out to Coach Sean McCarthy, man, and his family. You know what I mean? He was just he would always put it in a practical way for you to kind of hear it, and through a non-pushy type of way. He would just break it down. Yep. Yeah, and I love that. Well, man, dude, I'm just I tell you this all the time, but I'm just grateful you've came into my life, man, and been had my back. Everybody needs a coach, and you're always going to be my coach. You always will be. You always have been, and I always give you the props. And I don't ever want you to ever think that that's just a loose thing that I say. That's from the heart. I mean every word that I say. What makes me a good coach, Eric? Right, is I believe every word out of my mouth. Like everything that I say, I fucking believe, even the bullshit that I run. Good. But no, man, I just love you, man. I'm so proud to be, associated with, proud to be, got my black belt from you, got titles because of you. You've changed my life. Yeah, you have absolutely changed my life.
But you put the work in, and you know it.
But there's only one way to do it. There's a lot of people out here that are putting a lot of work in for the wrong reasons.
You have taken that role on, and you've getting all these champions, and you're doing that. Yeah. I've got some say of what you do and some of the stuff you did, but man, you were doing that yourself. And I've told you before, I let you know I was proud of you as a coach. Let's not talk about practitioners. We can.
But you got to have a strong foundation, and without the brick and mortar at the bottom. And you're the brick and mortar, man. You taught me what it was like. You taught me how to be. You taught me what the hard work gets you. You taught me how to push. You taught me how to be open minded to other coaches. You taught me how to be shut down other coaches. Like, no, that's some bullshit. We're not going to buy into it. So I look forward to another 20-year run, man. I look forward to you being that old guy in the gym now. That just yells and barks at everybody, or smiles and makes everybody feel good.
But I have told you this, and I can say it on record. I told you I will never leave you because I believe in that. That what you got in that. You should be like that. A lot of people do it. A lot of gyms are doing it. A lot of people breaking off and stuff. And that's never going to be me. So
well, it's fun. Thank you for that, and also to that note, you know what I mean. You've also checked me. It's not just been martial arts. Like there's been things that you just did not think was the right move in this gym, and what no one else will do. When you're sitting at the top, No one wants to tell you the truth.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
And that's why you're so dear to me, because you will have those conversations with me. You will let me know.
But I can have that conversation with you because I feel like you respect me enough 100%. That you will hear me out, whether you're going to follow it or whether you like it or not. You know, you're the owner at the end of it, and you can make your decisions however way you want. Mm-hmm. I'm just, will give you my piece. That being said, you'll come to me and say the same thing to me. Yeah. And I'm sure that's not easy for you to come to me and be like, hey, maybe you should add this into your class or whatever, because, but
the cool thing is we're always trying to get better. Absolutely. And that's what makes us better. It's never, it's like, some people come at it and you think that they're just trying to get over on your, trying to put you down. We know it's always to do the better calls. So that's what's cool. Real quick, you got a list of movies, list of shows or things that you're in. Give us, let us know for anybody that wants to watch you on the screen. No. What are your movies, real quick?
A lot of stuff was on ID channel and Reels channel. Evil Stepmothers and different stuff like that. I got some shows, but I really don't want y'all watching. The movie where I played.
You're an actor, Eric.
I'm an actor,
okay,
so I had to say some stuff in there that my daughter looks at me like when it come on, and she was like, and I was like, I shouldn't have said that.
Like you love the Redskins or the Commanders? You had to say something like that?
No, I had to say the F word. I had to be like, I had to cuss. And I was like, being a good actor, like, holding the thing up and yelling and did good, but I got to use a little bit of stuff, twist them around and stuff. Yeah. And they asked me to come back and do the second one. And I
what are the movies?
Kindly turned it down.
Let's let people see them. You don't have to if you don't want to.
I mean,
you don't look like you want to.
Yeah, I mean, Miscalculated. You can look it up. It's called Miscalculated. Right. It's a pretty cool thing. That's a pretty cool thing.
Awesome.
It's an urban thing. So, and I'm playing a cop, but it's pretty neat.
Okay.
Got mob and different stuff in it, so it's pretty cool.
Well, there's a bunch of other ones, so you clearly you're getting away from it.
TV shows. It's just TV shows. They just,
Well, I thank you for coming on, man. Thank you for this ride. Guys, if you want to check out Coach Eric's class, you know what I mean? He's teaching every Sunday at 9 a.m., no gates, drilling / instruction. He teaches kids karate Mondays and Wednesdays. We're still doing that after this week? Mondays and Wednesdays still? That's still okay. Mondays and Wednesdays at 5. We got a little personnel change next week. So, and then he teaches no-gi jiu-jitsu at 6:15 on Mondays as well.
Yeah.
He always has a packed class, and he's a wealth of knowledge. So for all those that are in the SBY MMA community, check his class out. If you want to try it out, come check it out. But man, I appreciate you coming on, brother. And
appreciate it.
Guys, listen, that'll wrap us up for this episode of Champ Talk. It went by too fast. But listen, again, I ask you kindly, please go to this whatever streaming service or listening service you're listening to, like it, give us a subscription, and give us a review. We need it. Until next time, guys, what are you doing today to become a champion?